everyone. So today I have an M&C Matrix. This is another M&C lock that I've gotten picked. This one is a little bit different than the two most recent ones that I did, in that those were dimples, and this is a regular pen tumbler lock. So key goes in this way. The bitting is up here on the top that interacts with the drivers, but it does also have, again, the sliders here, similar to the other two that I did. So two different key control mechanisms on this. The slider track interacts with 5 sliders, and those interact with a sidebar that is inside the housing. Right there, you can see the notch. And then it's just got the plain top stacks. Like the other M&C locks that I've picked, this has these mushroom drivers. The feedback for these when they are in this pen tumbler lock, I feel like is a little harder to deal with than when they were in the dimples. So that was interesting. I'm not entirely sure why it feels that way. It may just be because I'm using a different pick or something along those lines. The sliders, again, look very similar to the other ones. Some of these sliders have false gates and some of them do not. I think when I looked right after I picked it, I grabbed one that did not have a false gate, but that one does have a false gate. This one, though, I don't think has any false gates on it, so you can see there. So that varies, but the false gates did not really seem to do anything when I was picking it. The sidebar is just a normal flat piece of metal, as it was on the other M&C locks. You can see that right there. And then the only other thing this lock has that's kind of interesting, and I didn't know what this was when I gutted this for the first time. I actually had to ask somebody who was kind enough to explain it to me because I was not getting it. But this thing right here is it's a trap pin. So there's a hole right there on the plug, and this fits in here. And I thought it was key control, but I was really confused because it, you can see right there, it inserts a little bit into the plug, but when the key is inserted, all it does is push that flush. If I can get the key in here. Oh. So it just keeps it flush. So you can see right there, having the key in there just makes it so that this part's smooth. What that actually does, after it was explained to me, and this makes a lot of sense, is you can see it lines up with this 5th driver. So what will happen is if the key is not there and you turn the plug so that this is aligned with the chamber of that 5th driver, the driver will fall into this notch and get stuck. And you will have to either have the key or use a pick to basically lift this. I don't know if I can get that right there. Lift this so that, there you go, you can see that, so that you can pop that driver out of that little hole. It's interesting because it's asymmetric, so I feel like the driver would slide out one direction, maybe slide out this way, but not the other way. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah, it's a trap pin that will, I guess, make the plug get stuck if you pick it and then rotate the wrong direction. But I rotated it clockwise, so I did not experience any of that when I picked it. But that's what that is there for. So you'll hear me speculate on that a little bit. I was totally wrong. Just ignore me. And then nothing else really interesting in here. There's the slider holes, the driver holes. The slider holes go all the way through. I'm assuming it was just easier to drill them that way. That's where the sidebar goes right there. That spot for the trap pin, and then this metal piece right here, that's just anti-drill. The other M&C locks have that as well. So interesting, they took a design that was, I guess, very similar for both the pen tumbler versions and the dimple versions of the lock. And they're all slightly different variations on the same theme, but picked a little differently, but not too terribly much. And we'll move on to the next segment, and I'll get up into the vise and you'll see it picked. Okay, got my M&C Matrix here. Start by picking the top stacks, which is probably going to take me the longest in this lock because the drivers give kind of weird feedback. Sometimes I get those clicks and I think I've set something, but it's actually my pick falling off of a pin. I have come to realize. All right, so I'm getting a little bit of counter rotation, which means I should be setting these drivers. They are kind of little mushroom drivers. So you do have to lift them initially and then lift them again, which I think is where I'm at right now. But just being careful not to overlift. Okay, I think that was it. I've got a little mark here at the bottom. It's probably hard to see, but this is showing me where the edge of the keyway should be when I'm in a false set. So now I just need to set sliders here. Okay, I got a little bit of movement on that one. A little bit of movement on that one. All right. So that didn't take me very long, but it took me a long time to get used to opening this. So much faster in practice. Sorry, much faster picking it finally than it has been in practice. Good stuff here. All right. I need tweezers, shim, and I think this fella right here. Okay. And my C-clip. Okay, so the lock is open. So you can see, I'm gonna relock it here. Let's pull the C-clip off. I have not gutted this before, so hopefully I don't lose anything. There's no weird surprises in here. All right, seems pretty good. Okay. I'm guessing there's all kinds of weird things in here. All right, let me see what we can do. Okay, there's the sidebar. Grab these springs. I'm guessing the sliders will stay in. Oh, they go like all the way through. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, this is something. Key control maybe? I'm not 100% sure what that piece is. I'm going to put that right there. It looks like just a pin that goes into the plug. Okay, so let's get these key pins out. Let's do it this way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3. Oh, there was slider number 4. I forgot that when I pulled the key out, the sliders would go. Okay, there's key pin number 2 and key pin number 1. Okay, so we'll do that. And now let's get the sliders here. That's slider number 5. Slider number 3. Oh, nope, that was slider number 2. This is slider number 3. Let's keep those in order. And that's slider number 1. Okay, so there's the sliders and everything. Yeah, interesting that those go all the way through the plug. I wonder if you can lift those all the way up. And I'm guessing that is a key control piece right there. That spot, because it aligns with a spot. And it doesn't really align with anything on the key, but maybe some of them do. I'm not sure about that. All right, that's interesting. Okay, drivers. Don't need my shim anymore. All right, here's driver number 1. See the little mushroom spool there. And the spring. Driver number 2. And your spring. Driver number 3. Number 4. And lastly, number 5. Okay. So let's look in here. So there's the sidebar groove right there. And nothing else really spectacular in that plug. Or sorry, in the body. I'll bring these all up here so you can see those. So there are your mushroom drivers and the sliders. Doesn't look like any false gates on the sliders. I'll bring up some of the pieces individually. So like the other M&C locks, the sidebar is just a solid piece. So you can see right there. And it fits right in the notches on these sliders. Right there. No false gates on these. And then the mushroom drivers right there. And then this thing, I'm assuming this is some kind of weird key control piece. It fit in the side of the plug. It looks like this little notch right here stuck in. I wonder if I can see that. And I'm guessing if your key is not correct, maybe it pushes that out. I'm not 100% sure the function of this little thing. Because there's no place inside the housing for it to bind to. Yeah, that one's a mystery to me. If I find out, I'll put a comment down. All right, there you go. M&C Matrix. This one actually had sliders, unlike the 2-star version I had. This is the full version, so 5 sliders, 5 sets of top stacks, picked and gutted.